This entire season was a waste of time. What's going on, Silver Squad, and welcome back to the Silver Site. My name is RJ. Today I'm going to be breaking down episodes 1 through 7 of the American Horror Story spinoff, American Horror Stories, which is now streaming on Hulu, FX or Hulu, however that goes. I don't know. I'm not sure. I just know it's on Hulu. Now, I'm not going to break down everything in depth because honestly, I wasted enough time watching this entire season. I gotta be real, I'm irritated. I feel disappointed because I had high hopes going into the series, that I would like it, that I would enjoy it because I love anthology. I grew up on Are You Afraid of the Dark, Erie, Indiana, So Weird, these kind of like horror, thriller, suspense, anthology shows. And so me as an adult, I love American Horror Story, like how I love The Haunting of Bly Manor and The Haunting of Hill House. I love these kind of anthology horror series. And when I found out that Ryan Murphy was doing an American Horror Story spinoff, I was excited. I was genuinely hyped. I was genuinely ready. But as I watched the series, I felt like there were so many things that were just terribly done, from the dialogue, from the writing, the tone. Everything about this spinoff was just absolutely terrible. The acting was cringy. The characters were I couldn't connect to any of the characters. I did not care for this series whatsoever. Now, I don't want to be too negative because there were a couple of bright spots in which I did enjoy the series, but not enough to make me recommend this to anybody. I have a couple of friends who I actively discuss this show with on a regular basis, and we've all come to the general consensus. We're all horror fans, so don't get us wrong. It's not like we're trashing the show. We all genuinely horror fans. But for me and the people that I roll with, we just weren't feeling this. I don't really know anybody who had too many positive things to say about the series as a whole. Like I said, this series does have flashes of brilliance, but also the majority of the time, this is just a really, really poorly done spinoff. This is probably the worst spinoff I've ever witnessed. This was completely unnecessary. I'm actually really shocked it got renewed for season 2, but I'm going to stop rambling. I want to get into the review of the kind of breakdown of each episode and what I thought about it and why I didn't like each episode or what I liked about each episode. So with that being said, without further ado, before we get into it though, don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe, so that way you stay up to date with all of our content here at the Silver Site Network. Boom, now that that's over with, let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to be reading from my tablet on and off because I'm going to blow through this because I like I said, I feel like I wasted my time. Rubber Woman, this was nothing but like semi-fan service. I really feel like they kind of used Murder House to lure the American Horror Story audience in, and it just felt like this was something that was written by Tyler Perry and the Riverdale writing room combined. None of this struck any kind of like real Murder House vibes for me. I didn't really care about it. There was really nothing special about this episode other than the fact that it took place in the murder house. I thought the cast was cringy. I don't like the whole teen angst, thing that they have going on in this episode. It really didn't do anything for me. And for me, it really wasn't a great start to the season. It really didn't give me high hopes. And this should have been an indicator for me as to how I would like the series. But, I'm optimistic. I love American Horror Story. I love Ryan Murphy's work. I love horror. So for me, I wanted to keep watching just for the simple fact that it was a horror show. And I was thoroughly disappointed. Now, Drive-In, this one I didn't absolutely hate. I love the whole urban legend come to life kind of thing, and I felt like it was really well paced. I like the fact that they introduced the character, laid out the story, and let it unfold in a way that kind of helped build up to a really chaotic climax. I don't know, but I can't really say too much about this because I'm really biased against anything that's zombie related. I love zombie stories. I love those kind of things like 28 Days Later, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Reality Z. I love zombies or anything like remotely close to a zombie. So I feel like maybe I'm a little biased on that, but I encouraged my best friend to watch it, and he really liked it. It reminded him of a movie. It reminded him of a movie called Demons. So yeah, like I said, Driving wasn't that bad. Naughty List. I get the entire fuck out of here with this shit. I ain't no motherfucking way this shit got past multiple people. I mean, every single person that sat in that writer's room, every producer, like, y'all all read the shit. Y'all read the script and decided to not only, greenlight it, but you produced it, filmed it, edited it, and uploaded it to Hulu. I don't get it. And there had to be so many stories that got left on the cutting room floor for this episode, and it baffles me. It baffles me how terrible this was. It was like it was like this one really tried to pander to Generation Z. It was like it was written by a slightly out of touch millennial who thought that by making the story centered around Gen Z and YouTube that it would really, drive the audience. It didn't do it for me. I tried. I really did. I legitimately did not laugh one single time. The only thing I really enjoyed about this episode were the kills and, the effects. Everything else, the message was too on the nose. The influencer lifestyle was too on the nose. Everything just felt really aggressively Gen Z, and it was just too much. It literally, it just wasn't funny. It gave me so much secondhand embarrassment watching it that I literally had to go and just watch Disney Plus. I had to go watch The Owl House just to get it out of my head. I couldn't do it. It was really bad. Baal. Now, I'll say this, moving right along to Baal. This probably was the saving grace of the entire season, if anything. This probably felt like American Horror Story the most out of all the episodes. The story, the writing, the dialogue, even the ending was very American Horror Story-like. I definitely, this definitely was the flash of brilliance in a very, very, very dark season. I love Billy Lowe's performance in this episode, and I had a lot of balanced. It had a lot of balanced, I guess, elements of horror. You had the suspense. You had, I don't know. It just had so much story, and I just love the background of the fertility, the spells, the demons. I love all that stuff, magic. That's right up my alley, and I feel like what this did was it really didn't put too much of an emphasis on storytelling. It just kind of let things flow, and it felt really organic. I don't know. I loved it. This was definitely something that really kind of made me think, okay, well, this season is going to turn around. It's going to get better, but it didn't. Now, Feral. This wasn't the worst out of the season for me, but it probably could have been better paced. I felt like the audience was brought in at the wrong time, and we were also brought in from the wrong perspective. I didn't really care about the marriage between the two main characters or whatever the hell their names were. I don't know. I just felt like the build was way too long to get to get to the payoff. It took too long to build it up. I feel like we should have gotten more characters on the backstory. We should have gotten more backstory on the characters from the woods, like the sheriff, the park ranger, excuse me, and the monsters. I didn't care about not that I didn't care about the kid dying, but I didn't care about, I didn't care about the couple. I didn't care about the marriage falling apart. I cared nothing about that. Y'all could have literally done all that stuff in one flashback, and y'all could have did that before the opening credits, and then left everything where it was, and just proceeded to have them go through the woods to try to find their kids. I felt like the majority of the story should have taken place with them in the woods and not ended with them in the woods. Game Over. This episode, the final episode, it's called Game Over. This was the epitome of everything that was wrong with this entire season of American Horror Stories. The acting was just terrible. The weird off-the-wall writing. The cringy, the dialogue was so cringy between the mom and the son. I didn't even feel like they were, I don't know. It just felt like a bad high school play at some point between the characters trying to, I don't know. It just was weird as hell, man. I did not like it. And I pray that this episode, or I hope this whole season is not canon. I hope this is something that they're just saying was like an alternate universe of American Horror Story, because I didn't care. I didn't care for any of it, man. And I'm trying to be as real as possible. I'm trying to be as nice as possible, but I really hated this episode. It was this weird, it was this weird kind of meta shit they had going on, and I didn't understand why they had to take it there. I don't know. I pray this is not canon. I'm trying to go through my notes in my head. Like my notes are all over the place just because this season was just so bad and so terrible. I'll say this. I really want them to leave Murder House alone, because this didn't do anyone any justice. This didn't do anything for anybody. And for me as a fan, of the series as a whole, I have my seasons that I liked, some seasons that I didn't like, some moments that I liked, some moments that I didn't like. But with Game Over, I felt like they were really trying to pull us into something. It was like that episode of Black Mirror where we were pulled into a game, and in the end, we find out, I don't know, at the ending of the American Horror Story, we found out that This whole time they're playing a game. But then in the end, there's a red ball that indicates that one of the spirits got loose. So did the spirits get loose? Did they burn it down? What the fuck happened? I don't understand. I don't understand. Help me. I don't know. Ryan Murphy, don't waste my motherfucking time next year, bro. Don't waste my time. I really hope that the season of American Horror Story that's going to debut tomorrow on FX is a lot better than what we had to endure these past few weeks, because they could have released this on a web series and it would have been better than on Hulu and marketing it as a spinoff. This could have been a web miniseries that wasn't canon, and it would have done a lot better, and it would have been received a lot better. But for me, this was a complete waste of my time. I did not enjoy the season. I would be okay, and I would understand if there was not a season 2. There are plenty of episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Erie, Indiana. Shit, Strange Days at Blake Halsey High. So weird. There are so many episodes that are horror or suspense or sci-fi anthology, even for kids, that are done so much better than American Horror Stories. I don't understand the weird obsession with Gen Z and pulling them into American Horror Story. Not to say everything has to be focused on millennials and above, but I feel like if you're going to write for Gen Z, you need to have a Gen Z person in the room, because all of this was just fucking weird, and I don't want any more parts of it. I'm going to stop rambling, because I feel like at this point I'm saying the same thing over and over. You guys understand what I feel about this episode, what I felt about the season. I can't even talk. I'm not going to drag it out. Don't forget to like, share, most importantly, subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking American Horror Story. I'm going to try to review the new season weekly as it comes out, but no promises. You know how I get. Sometimes I get tired. I don't feel like it. Make sure you follow us across all social media platforms at the Silver Site Network. At the Silver Site with Twitter. We're going to be the Silver Site with the _. We're on Facebook and Instagram as well. Don't forget to comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this season. Are you looking forward to season 2? What was your favorite episode? What was your least favorite episode? What were your favorite moments? What were your least favorite moments? With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Later day.